Too little, too late. That's how some growers have described the government's decision to boost the cap on temporary visas for foreign seasonal workers. Today, it signalled an increase of just over 3,000 workers in the next 2 years. But the horticulture and viticulture industries, who have been crying out for extra labour for years, say it doesn't go far enough. Our political editor, Jane Patterson, reports.
In the first year, 1,550 more visas will be available for workers from the Pacific to come to New Zealand under the recognised Seasonal Employer Scheme. The total cap will rise by a further 1,600 the following year, taking it to a total of 16,000. But the Immigration Minister Ian Galloway says the second increase is not a done deal.
That increase is conditional on us seeing continued improvement from the sector on things like building worker accommodation, improving wages, creating more opportunities for training for their seasonal workers, employing New Zealanders.
It's a step in the right direction, says Horticulture New Zealand Chief Executive Mike Chapman.
But we really needed quite a few more RSEs to be allocated. And we're only talking about a percentage of the seasonal workers that come in. We're talking about roughly a quarter. So this isn't displacing any Kiwi who wants to work.
Strawberry grower Francie Perry told RNZ last week she faces leaving crops to rot in the ground if she can't get enough pickers. She says not only is the increase announced today not large enough, but they needed a decision back in July to give officials the time to allocate the extra numbers to individual growers.
If we don't get some help from Immigration New Zealand, then again we'll miss the boat for our own harvest, and again we'll have fruit rotting in the fields.
Mike Chapman says having a government decision earlier should be considered in the upcoming review of the scheme.
We're looking at how we can, on a more empirical basis, work out the number for each year without it being late, so that all sectors benefit from it.
The Minister says any issues for early harvesters like strawberries will be sorted for next season.
I've heard very clearly from the sector that if they have more certainty about their ability to get the workforce that they need, that will give them confidence to make the changes that government is looking for. So we have heard that call for greater certainty.
No comfort though for Ms Perry.
Well, I suppose it gives certainty. We know that there won't be enough. So I guess to that extent, that's certainty.
Another issue for the industry is worker exploitation, which Mr Galloway says the government is tackling.
But also, I would say in the RSE scheme, we have seen improvements in recent years. Employers have heard the challenge from government. They have been making changes. And of course, employers can lose their RSE status, and they take that very seriously.
The National Party MP for Kaikoura, Stuart Smith, says the government is not putting enough pressure on some New Zealanders to take up those jobs.
Industry is bending over backwards to try and get people to actually go out and work, and they can't get them. So, we can't ignore Kiwis, absolutely not. But you'd have to wonder if there's a bit of a soft approach on those people who are getting benefits. They should have an obligation to at least present themselves for work and give it a go.
And the Minister Ian Galloway rejects any concerns this increase will take jobs away from New Zealanders, saying the RSE positions only make up a relatively small percentage of the thousands of jobs around the country. The new cap kicks in immediately, but there will be some lag time for growers as they get those allocations from Immigration New Zealand and then physically get the labour they need onto their farms. From Parliament for Checkpoint, Jane Patterson.